Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and welcome to the This Are Johnny Domino podcast. If you're looking for lo-fi arsing about and two blokes rambling on about songs that no one's ever heard before, then you're in the right place.
Can I just say, I think of all the podcasts that I listen to, I think we've got the grooviest theme tune.
Yeah, how many podcasts do you listen to? Two?
I listen to loads, and obviously I work on them as a podcast editor, podcastingeditor.com for all your podcast editing needs. But as we were listening to it then, I was grooving away. You can't see it, but I'm shimmying.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. It definitely is a vibe.
Right. So welcome back. Here we are. If you're a returning visitor, but if you are a new person, basically we are two brothers that are listening to music that we made a long time ago, like 30 years ago. We've already established that it's basically not us anymore. It's like the music of different people. So we're not being overly self-congratulatory or arrogant in any way by making this self-obsessed podcast, and we're reacting to it, we're listening to it, we're talking about music, we're talking about culture. It's getting into the nitty-gritty of what life is about. Yeah.
That voice was my brother Giles, and I am Steve.
Hello. It's nice that you're here, Steve.
It's nice to have you here as well. I'm looking forward to this because it's an odd selection of songs, but not in a this is weird sort of recording. I think it's.
Do you think we've got a good selection? You know, we've had issues before because you feel that there's not enough jeopardy, because you feel that we picked maybe one good song and then like a load of some other ones that are perhaps like we know that they weren't that good. But do you think perhaps we've got three songs here that are all good?
I think we've got a lot to talk about with them.
We better get straight on with it.
Let's go.
Right, we can't do too much faffing around at the start of this episode, right? We need to get right in with the first track.
Okay.
Right? And the first track is called I'm Not In Anymore. Tell us about when we recorded it, Steve.
This is another example of me having some grand idea of recording like an epic, heartbreaking, post-rock tearjerker. And I mean, I can barely remember the song. I think it was 4 chords. I was on acoustic guitar and you're playing the drums, and you gamely went along with me for about 5 minutes. And then we finished doing it, and then we started faffing around, and we never finished recording the epic song, never actually completed it. But we did complete this one, and we probably completed it on the same day. And this, I think, is, again, one of my favourites.
What year is this?
95, 96, I think it was.
1995.
Going all the way back. As we're doing this, I'm constantly thinking of that. Again, we've mentioned him before, Philip Larkin poem about I have started to say 25 years ago about my own life. I'm constantly reminded of that poem as we talk about this, because in a way it feels like 5 minutes ago, but it's very, very clearly 30 years ago.
There you go. It happens to all of us. Sometimes it feels like it's 5 minutes ago. Sometimes it feels like it was a really long time ago. It's like, it's weird. Perspective changes, you know? Anyway, this song, just to kind of lay the foundations, right? It's basically guitar and drums and percussion and vocals, isn't it? There's not like, it's the instrumentation on this is quite sparse.
There's a harmonica solo.
Oh, there's a really bad harmonica solo. Listen out for that, kids. But when I was listening to it the other day, I was thinking that guitar has a your guitar is worth talking about. It has a very interesting sound. I remember that Yamaha acoustic guitar that you used to play was extremely hard for me to play. It really hurt my fingers. And it's got quite a high action. I
Yeah, baby.
think. Or or you used really like heavy strings. I don't know what you did, but it did stop me from playing the acoustic guitar, which is probably a good thing, right? Considering the evidence of songs that we did where I did play the acoustic guitar. Let's not go there at the moment, right?
We'll come to that.
Let's never go there. Right. But yeah, it's got that very high accent. It sounds like it's hurting your fingers. I actually can hear the fingers hurting when I hear this guitar bit, right? It sounds like wire, right? It's really tight. And it also, the way you've recorded the guitar, it sounds a bit like your head's inside the guitar. But the mic, it's like it's close mic'd, right?
Yeah.
I quite like that. And also, it's the vocals.
Yeah.
It's me talking about getting in, and I think, or being in. I think that's like getting in with girls in a kind of a Mike Skinner kind of way. I'm sort of like a version of Mike Skinner that perhaps just studied English literature A level.
I don't think it is about that. I think it's about, I always read it as I'm not in, as in I'm not cool anymore. You know, you're not in the in crowd.
But then the chorus is the verses are all about like a girl from Spondon or whatever.
Girls from Wollaton and girls from Spondon.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of more about the kind of getting in or being in with somebody. So that's what it's about. It's
Okay.
like that, being in with someone or not being in with someone.
And for a recording where we said we weren't going to talk much before the first song, we've gone on for ages talking about the first song.
I know, but I've introduced it. We've laid the foundation.
1, 2, 3, 4. Start again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The flyer says it's all. We're on the first floor. We're in the dress code. We don't need a reason why. We've got a floor. They on the door. She been a weirdo code. You know tonight could change your life. Look at her, she looks quite far gone. I've seen her before in Spondon. I'm not in anymore, so I can't complain about that. Hey, she's looking at you. So play your best face and shake the pigeon boy she feeds. She's looking quite a lot like Bambi before they killed his mum. She looked quite far gone. She come from Wollaton. I'm not in anymore, so I can't complain about that. Cut it all up and stick it back together. Rip it all up and leave it on the floor. I can't see any other options. Just use the force loop when times are hard. She looked quite far gone. She goes to London. I'm not in anymore, so I can't complain about that. I'm not in anymore. I'm not in anymore. I'm not in anymore. Did it hurt your fingers playing that?
Yeah, it did.
I thought it would.
But that's the guitar that I learned how to play on, really. And so when I got that guitar back, was it earlier this year or late last year.
Yeah,
I just know how to play it. I've been playing guitar for years, but sometimes when I try and play on different guitars, I can't play the bits that I used to play. Get that guitar back, I can play them.
It's got a particular sound, though, hasn't it?
But the thing is, without being too pompous about it, I always liked guitarists like Kristen Hirsch from Throw Muses. When she used to play the acoustic guitar, it was like she was playing it in a very aggressive way. When you think about acoustic guitars, you can kind of get the idea. Like it's like that thing about that Smith's lyric. I thought that if you had an acoustic guitar, it meant that you were a protest singer. And it's like I wanted to show, again, it sounds incredibly pompous having a kind of manifesto about the acoustic guitar, but I wanted to, it's like when we recorded on 4-track, we wanted to show that we could record things on 4-track cassette recorder and it sounded good.
And you were trying to show that an acoustic guitar could be used in a kind of a more of a kind of aggressive, different way to just like strumming, more punk acoustic guitar. Yeah, I was worried there that you were going to do your thing where you go, "It's not." I was going to make a jingle for it. The bit where you go, "It's not." You go, "It's not Ginger Baker. It's not Wagner." Sorry,
it's not Wagner. It's not. It's definitely not Wagner. There's an old X Factor reference. That does sound like I probably did have some kind of manifesto in my head at the time, similar to the 4-track recording thing. But I just wanted to show acoustic guitars could do different things to myself.
I think anything. It's a good experiment, isn't it? What else do you like about that track? Is there anything?
I like the fact that you forget how to speak on the last chorus. When the line is, she looks quite far gone. She go to London, and I just really like that.
Yeah, I could pretend that I did that on purpose. What do you think about the lyrics?
Do you think you're being too hard on these women? She looks quite far gone. She goes to London, or she goes to Wollaton. And the thing is, do we need to explain what Spondon is and what Wollaton is?
All right, okay. Let's talk about the lyrics then. We're going to head into this particular can of worms. All right.
Okay.
Earlier in the episode than I thought we were, but it's fine. Okay. So anyway, the line in the song about a girl from Spondon. Spondon is a small town near Derby.
It's a suburb,
not particularly nice. Well, I'm sorry to anyone who lives in Spondon, but I don't think it's a particularly nice place to live. And certainly when this was recorded, my main thought about Spondon was that it smelt a bit because it was a sewage work nearby to Spondon. I don't know whether it still smells as bad, but it did smell.
Interesting fact about Spondon is Graham Coxon was born there. Graham Coxon, guitarist from Blur.
Yeah. So smelly Spondon. And then you've got like Wollaton, which is in contrast to Spondon, which is a suburb of Nottingham, which is quite a leafy and quite a middle class place. So I think I was picking two places that were quite different. But yeah, in terms of like, am I being quite mean to these women? I think some of the lyrics in some of these songs, I think, are of the time. And I think, I don't know. I don't know whether I regret some of the stuff that I wrote, because it's obviously what I was thinking about at the time and it's who I was. But I think it was because I was so needy in a way, and I really, really wanted a girlfriend, right? And it was that kind of very typical thing that a young man might do, which is kind of like, well, if you don't like me, I'm going to be a dick to you, or at least in my own mind, I'm going to sort of think dickish things about you.
I didn't like you anyway.
So I think there's a bit of that, definitely. I don't know. Some of the lyrics, if I listen too hard to them, it makes me feel a little bit like, that's not very good. I want to give myself a strong talking to about, like, treating people like people and stuff like that. And I think that will come up in quite a few songs. But I don't know. I still think this song's all right. I like the music. I really like, and I like the percussion a lot.
Yeah,
and the hey bit that we do. Hey, that bit's quite cool. So there's some good bits to it, and it doesn't sound like anything else, does it?
No, I think a lot of the energy of it comes from the fact that we did record it all in one day. So, we did the music. We recorded one of the guitar tracks and the drums at the same time. I put another guitar track on it because at this point we didn't have a bass. So I played the bass on the acoustic guitar. Then we did the virtuosic harmonica solo and the haze and the vocals, and it was done in like one go, really. And I think that's part of it. And I'm not trying to cancel you with the lyrics. I'm not trying to sort of like bring anyone down with it, but I think it is. It's of an age, and we were at that age, and it goes back to what the AI called us being awkward around girls and women, because we were
like a lot of people,
Yeah.
that age. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of, you really, really want to connect with somebody, but you sort of spend your time in situations which make it really difficult to do that, like hanging around. Well, that's what we used to do, hanging around in bars and clubs, which are like really difficult places to kind of connect with somebody. So, it was an awkward time, but we got over it. We grew up, we get through it. But this is like evidence of going through that time, I think,
It's reportage from the front lines.
Yeah, But yeah, it's good. And yeah, the harmonica bit, I don't know, this time I quite liked it. It sounds like a toy harmonica.
I've got no problem with it.
Tell us about the next song, Steve.
Okay, the next song is a song called Dick's Kitchen. And this is from the Johnny Domino as a 4-piece band, an 8-legged groove machine period. And it's called Dick's Kitchen because I've got a memory of us kind of working this song up in a rehearsal that we had. And our friend Dick, who we've mentioned a lot of times on the podcast, we rehearsed at his house for some reason, mostly because he lived on a farm. So we went to I think we only did it once or twice.
I thought we recorded this in Dick's Kitchen.
Well, I was just about to say that because I just had a memory. On our first, in inverted commas, proper album, was an album called Rabbit Themes.
It's available on Johnny Domino Bandcamp. Anyone who wants to listen to it.
You can listen to it. You could possibly even buy it if you wanted to.
If you really wanted to.
And we have a small pile of CDs under all of our beds. And again,
so if you want one, please get in contact.
And the word small is definitely in inverted commas, referring to the pile of CDs, unsold CDs. But yeah, we recorded the bass and guitar tracks for pretty much the whole album at Dick's house because he lived on a farm and there was no one around. So we turned everything up. I mean, for later recordings and albums, we weren't quite as considerate. We just did everything at home. But yeah, we did everything pretty much in one go. Just me and you, sort of with split headphones on, just kind of hammering away at them.
So this is the sound of a recording done in a farm kitchen. And you can kind of feel the farm vibe.
Can you?
I don't know. We'll see.
Why are we so and now you're spitting out tax. I kinda lost my thread there for a minute. I kinda lost the plot there for a minute. I do it all with mirrors to escape detection. But is it you I love, or just my own reflection? I do it all with mirrors to escape detection. But is it you I love, or is it your reflection? Women know, but I don't know what. You make me nervous when you talk. Women know, but I don't know what they know. You make me nervous.
Interesting, that one. Interesting. I am feeling that a strange sense that I feel very familiar with that song, but at the same time, it sounds extremely alien to me. It's quite weird. It's quite weird because it was a bit of a live favorite, wasn't it? We played it like constantly. I mean, if you ever saw us live ever, you probably heard that song.
It's such a peculiar recording, and again, it goes back to something we've mentioned before about recording, because that was recorded on 4-track cassette. Now, obviously, there is drum machine, bass, guitar, keyboard, vocals. Now, even in a very basic sense of counting, that's 5 tracks. So what we did was we recorded the drums, bass and guitar in one go, and I obviously bounced the drums and bass together. And another thing we did with that recording and with that album is we used an effects unit to add some reverb to the drums. But obviously the drums were on the same track as the bass. So the bass has a little bit of reverb on it, which is why it sounds so soupy.
Drum machine,
soupy bass. So it's got this very peculiar sound to it.
It's just like a weird song, to be honest. I feel like it's a really weird song. I mean, I hear Captain Beefheart because we were kind of into Captain Beefheart. Well, I hear Captain Beefheart influence, right? It's that kind of jerky, clear spot era blues jerky kind of thing. It's got keyboards which are kind of blur-esque, seaside organ kind of sound, right? It's not me singing on this one. It's Big Jim Convery.
Big Jim
sounding. I feel quite threatening on this one. He has a threatening presence. I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but he had quite a threatening presence on stage, perhaps. And I feel this is quite a threatening song.
I don't necessarily get threatening. I just
malignant,
possibly. But one of the constant criticisms that we had as a live band was that we didn't play live often enough. And another accusation that was thrown at us was that we couldn't be arsed. And yet another accusation that was thrown at us was everything was done very, very ironically with a kind of arched eyebrow. And that's the thing I'm getting from it. There's a bit of, the way, and I really don't want to talk about people that aren't on this recording in a way that is disrespectful.
We'll judge that. We'll judge that when you've said it.
Okay. I think there's a bit of can't be asked about it.
I don't think so. Well, I don't know. The way I remember it, in terms of like the lyrics, right, and writing the song, this was at a point where we kind of got to the point where we were working with Jim and Mark. Sorry, forgot to mention Mark. Hi, Mark. Where I got to the point where I just basically threw my lyric book across the room at Jim, and I was no longer kind of active in the sort of the process of like writing the lyrics. I just kind of wrote. I used to write lots of stuff in a notebook, and I would just like throw this notebook at Jim in a practice and situation, and then he'd just pick choice lines and phrases and then combine them with his own. And that would be like the lyrics to a song, and it made for kind of quite disconnected songs, I think, which had a similar sort of they had a kind of a similar sort of vibe, which was kind of quite our arsey vibe, but I don't know. It's so that I think that's how I remember it anyway. And it does feature the lyric in that song as Jim's dating profile, which I quite enjoy.
Yeah, and again, that's a bit of a throwback to one of the things that we all kind of agreed on as a musical touchstone in the band, which was the B-52s, because it's Song for a Future Generation in the middle.
The B-52s.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that song as well.
Yeah, I mean, we did draw on a wide... I mean, we all listened to lots of different stuff in the band, but one of the few things that we all agreed on was the B-52s. And that song obviously features everyone's dating profile. So that was the first of many lifts. Probably not even the first.
Yeah, that's on, I think, one of my favourite B-52s albums as well.
Yeah, Whammy. I think that is my favourite B-52s album.
It's such a good album, isn't it?
The first album I bought by them. Maybe we'll do a playlist of the B-52s.
Oh, maybe
We'll do that.
Unlike the B-52s, I think that song was never going to appeal to the masses.
No.
But I don't think we were trying to, really. I think we were trying to make self-consciously awkward and malicious kind of music in a way, and being a bit clever.
I think it's too clever. My thing is, I think it's too clever. I think there are so many... I don't know if you can use this word about music, but there are so many ironic bits in it. You know, you've got the kind of the Reginald Dixon organ bit at the start, which is, we were doing it as a Reginald Dixon kind of Blackpool Pier sort of organ part at the start.
Park Life.
Oh, I mean, I was expecting almost at the count someone to go "Oi" on the fourth beat. You know, it's and if anyone wants to know, I did a bit of research via Mark Elston, who played keyboards on that song. The bit of crowd noise at the start is from a Small Faces box set. And it's a recording of the Small Faces live at Newcastle City Hall in November 1968. Because I was listening to it yesterday and thinking, where the hell is that crowd noise from? There you go.
Yeah.
Bit of trivia for you.
That bit's my favourite bit of the song, I think. That and Jim's dating profile. I think they're the best bits, really. I feel slightly deflated. I have to keep you updated with my emotional state. I don't know whether it's the coffee's wearing off, but that song's made me feel quite sad. I don't know why.
I think we were definitely trying... I don't know what we were trying for, but it was a live favourite when we did play live. But I can see us playing it live in a kind of get this down your neck sort of way. Like, we're giving you some medicine. Yeah, you're not going to like this, and we're going to play it anyway.
God. And now, when I see bands like that now, I really hate them.
Yeah. Let's move on to something a little bit gentler, shall we?
I'm not sure I like this podcast anymore. It's making me feel weird about stuff. I feel like I'm questioning my identity that's grown up over the years. Maybe that's a good thing.
Is the next song going to help?
I think the next song might help, hopefully. The next song, it's got a different kind of feeling to it altogether, I think. And it's back to just me and you recording in the bedroom. Actually, before you put it on, because I am quite looking forward to hearing this one, I think this is our attempt at writing something that approximates the kind of stuff that was being released on Sarah Records at the time.
There's a bit of that.
I feel that when I listen to this one, and I'll talk about that after the song.
And just to say one other thing, it's not just me and you on this song.
What?
I'm a lovesick cat again, creeping round the house at 4 a.m. Didn't think that I'd do this again. You and me and Mary Jane are driving in the easy lane. You and me and Mary Jane. Sometimes my life is so insane. house at 4 a.m. Didn't think that I'd do this again. There's you and me and Mary Jane, and we're driving in the easy lane. Yeah, you and me and Mary Jane. Sometimes my life is so insane.
And B, driving with Mary Jane is never going to end well. So don't do it, kids.
That's a
Just
very,
needed-
very good point.
Needed to say that.
Very responsible.
I'm trying to be a responsible person. I enjoyed the fact that the lyrics on that one, in contrast to the previous tracks that we've listened to today, and it's kind of brought me back up. I listened to that song, and it's kind of a bit more heartfelt. Do you know what I mean? It's like I think in this song, I can't really remember because it is ages ago. It's a different person in the past, etc. But it sounds like somebody who is like trying to write about something that actually was happening to them, not some sort of idea of who they want to be. It's like I was writing about a situation that happened, I think, and it's from the heart, and I like that. I think that travels better.
Yes, I agree. I think, there was definitely something of the Sarah Records vibe that we were going for. We've mentioned in the past that the Johnny Domino name came about because we had a 4-track, because I was recording a single for our friends in Peru.
Not Peru, the country.
All of Peru. We recorded a single for that entire nation of Peru. It was like a revolutionary act. But it's an indie band.
Peru, the band.
Peru, an indie band called Peru that featured our mate Brian /Jock /Archdeacon of Pop. He was the drummer in our old band, and he wrote indie pop songs as well. And the bass player that we've mentioned in the past, the one who forgot to plug his bass amp in, John Coolin, Johnny P. Coolin, he was one of the other songwriters in Peru. And I recorded lots of things with them. Sometimes it was just me and Jock. Sometimes it was me, Jock, and Chris. Sometimes it was all 4 of us. And one of the things that you said at the start of this recording was, it's going back to just me and you. John Coolin does the backing vocals on the chorus.
Oh, that's so good. I don't remember that, but I'm really pleased it's John. Because it kind of, that makes it even more kind of like of that kind of Sarah Records vibe. And Jock was like the person who was like brought that whole world to our awareness, really.
Definitely,
the Sarah Records thing. And Sarah Records, if anyone doesn't know, was a Bristol-based label, wasn't it?
Yeah, based in Bristol. They were kind of the poster children of indie pop. A lot of it, you could probably say it was kind of shambling and cutesy, but when you get into that whole kind of scene, if you think about someone like Beat Happening, they were kind of very shambling and cutesy and pretending to be kids, but the songs are really not very cute.
No, they're not.
And by all accounts, that whole scene was so unbelievably decadent. It was kind of like the last days of Pompeii or something. It was
and it was all like 7-inch singles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I read somewhere that they stopped after they reached 100.
I don't know if that's true or not. It sounds cool if it did.
No, I read it on Wikipedia. They got to catalogue number Sarah 100, and then they had a party, and then they shut down. And I respect that because they just stopped.
That's wicked. That's a really cool thing. That's a really cool thing.
So Sarah Records, I'm going to tell you my favourite Sarah Records song.
Go for it.
My favourite Sarah Records song is "You Should All Be Murdered by Another Sunny Day." That's a great song.
It's
That
a
is
tune.
a great song. It's got incredibly reactionary lyrics, which is brilliant. It's about like about wanting to murder people. And whenever I listen to that, whenever I hear that title, whenever I think about it, I always think about it in a Scottish accent. I think it's that link with Jog. And I always think about it. You should all be murdered, like
Taggart.
Cracker, like Taggart. Yeah, murdered. You should all be murdered.
Yes.
And it really makes me laugh.
I apologise to any of our Scottish listeners for the accent.
What's your favourite?
Weirdly, one of the only Sarah records I got is the Emma's House 7-inch by the Field Mice, which you've got a couple of tunes on it, but at the moment I'm hovering on whether to sell it on Discogs because it's fetching quite a bit of money, which is odd. But then I wouldn't have anything from Sarah Records.
I think you should hang on to it.
I think I might be. You know what I'm like. I'm not one for giving stuff away. You've helped me move house a couple of times. I've got a lot of stuff.
You're not kidding, mate.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, back to the job in hand. The song "Say Something," by Johnny Domino.
Can I just say something about "Say Something" by Johnny Domino?
Say something.
I don't know why there are 3 distinct middle eights in that song. Now, when we were talking about this song, we did talk about a kind of revisionist history approach where I would edit out the bit that offends me.
Well, I don't think you should. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think you should because I think, yes, on one side, songs can sometimes go on a bit too long. But then on the other side, it goes on a bit of a musical journey. And it depends on what mood you're in when you're listening to it. Because actually, if you're feeling like you want to go on a bit of a musical journey, it's actually all right.
Okay, it's decided. I'm going to leave it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I did try to chop it out. I gave it like 5 minutes and I thought, nah, I can't be bothered.
Honestly, that's the vibe I'm getting today.
Yeah, but I do like that song, and
it's straight, and it sounds kind of open. It's those open strings, and it's got that sort of straightforward thing. I don't want too much of that kind of music.
No.
Do you know what I mean? But sometimes it hits the spot, doesn't it?
It really does. I enjoyed listening to that this morning.
Here we are at the end of the episode, and we're going to choose which one of the 3 tracks that we recorded as Johnny Domino we're going to put onto our theoretical, what's it called again?
Theoretical best of mixtape.
That's it. We're going to put it. Which one are we going to put on? And this week we have a bit of jeopardy because I think we've chosen 3 songs that I think have all got good qualities about them. But we are going to be very strict and we're going to just choose one.
Yes. Okay. Now, Dick's Kitchen. There's something about it that makes me feel uncomfortable. More than anything, I don't really like the way it's recorded because obviously we did play it live a lot and we got better at playing that song. And did we ever do it with a real drummer?
Yeah, we must have done.
We must have done it with Jeff when we eventually, about a year before we stopped being Johnny Domino and about 15 years into being Johnny Domino, we actually got a real drummer and everything just sounded better with a real drummer. So I think that's
not everything.
Quite a lot of things sounded better with a real drummer.
A lot of the stuff we were choosing to do at the time came together quite well with the drummer. And I think that one did definitely sound better.
Yeah, and I think that's possibly what my issue is. It's kind of a missed opportunity. Whereas I think the other 2 songs that we're talking about being recording artifacts, they are what they are. You know, we never played them again. We didn't do any live. That's what the song is. So I feel happy with them being finished.
Which one's your favourite though?
Well, I'm surprised how much I enjoyed Say Something. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Yeah. Because going into this, I was going to be all in on I'm Not In Anymore.
Which way are you going to go?
I still think my favourite is I'm Not In Anymore.
I don't agree with you. I think that it's good, and it was one that we liked back in the day. But I have to say, at this point in time, I really think that Say Something's got a bit more direct, and it's like I listened to that on my headphones and I enjoyed it. I'm happier with the lyrics. It's less arsey. I like it. I'm more pleased with it than the others.
Yeah, I think going into this, I was convinced I was going to pick I'm Not In Anymore. But the way I felt listening to them this morning, I was probably more in the mood for Say Something.
Yeah, me too.
Well, let's go with Say Something then.
Oh my God. Oh, Steve, I've got a new section.
Oh, good.
I've got a new section this week. And the new section is songs that I want to be played at my funeral.
Really? Okay. This is interesting. I know what my song is for the funeral, but you go with yours.
Here we go. Well, this week, my song that I'd like to be played at my funeral, and this isn't a depressing thing,
No.
right, is Freebird 2 by the Parquet Courts. Do you want to know why?
I would love to know why.
Okay. I like the music, obviously. It's kind of jaunty, which is what you need, I think, really. You don't want anything too depressing. And the lyrics, I think, are really fantastic. It's the internal voice of someone who's got to the point where they're looking back on their life and they've got to that point and they're sort of thinking, yeah, I kind of get it. I kind of get it, what it's all about. And it's got some really, really good lines in it that I think would be very appropriate for that sort of occasion. Every step I've strayed from and followed led me to the same location. That's a great line.
That's a nice line.
Also refers to life as a delivery to now. A delivery to being on, fight this moment that we're in at the moment. It's like the past is like a delivery to now. And then at the very end, the chorus bit, the free, I feel free like you promised I'd be.
That's not, that is
It
nice.
just does it for me, man. It just does it for me, man.
Okay, so
there you go. That's the end. That's the end of my section.
And that is the song this week. If you were to die within the next week or so, and we are recording this in the middle of August, that's what you're going to have played. Interesting.
That's cheerful, isn't it?
Are you interested to know what I would like played at my funeral?
It's not really part of the section, but you can add it if you want.
Oh, right. So this section is songs that Giles once played at his funeral. Excellent.
Yeah.
So
but you can have another section if you want.
Well, so no, it's fine. My input isn't required. Let's just leave it as it is. Thank you very much for caring. This is why our relationship is what it is now.
So here we are at the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. It's been really good this morning, Steve. I've really enjoyed it, as usual. Absolutely. And we will be back again in a couple of weeks with some more songs. And I don't know, I'm feeling we're heading towards having some kind of a guest episode or something. We'll see at some point in the near future, I hope.
If you are enjoying the podcast, please share it with friends of yours who may also have a similar interest, and also like and subscribe wherever you are listening right now. Is that what I say?
Something like that.
Is that basically all I say?
I think so.
Okay.
Turn the mic off now.